Hello, welcome to the Relationship Masterclass. Today, my name remains Sam Oye, and it delights my heart to come your way today. I'm sure you had a great weekend and your family members all keeping safe. Today promises to be a unique experience on this platform, so I'd like you to stay tuned because we're in for something very unique, particularly as it touches our relationships and marriages. So if you're single, married, divorced, separated, complicated, whatever the situation is, I just want to let you know that the things that I'll be sharing today will be generic enough for you to be able to find wisdom to apply to whatever state you find yourself in the journey of marriage, relationship, interaction with human beings. The things that I'll be sharing today will be very critical to having a healthy relationship and marriage. My wife sends her regards to all of you. We love you, and we're committed towards your marriage enrichment. We want to see you do well, not just in your finances, not just in your spiritual life. We're passionate about total success. And to that end, we come your way today. But before we get started, let's see a little bit of a teaser. Remember that I started talking about the 12 major foxes that destroys marriages and relationships. So all of you on Facebook, I welcome you. All of you on the YouTube Nation, I welcome all of you. So today we want to quickly get down to some of the foxes that I mentioned in our previous episodes of this program. So I like to see some of the fastest fingers. And well, if I'm going to go by previous judgment, Lord have mercy on the men. They seem not to even have a chance in this matter. But let's see. The men may have gone to equip themselves. And something tells me that maybe the men today will rise to the occasion. So let's see. Let's get started. Let's see who is going to be the first to let us know what you consider to be one of the major foxes that affects marriages and relationship. Would you be kind enough? Oh my goodness. Olayinka, thank you, my man. Olayinka shut in for the man. Olayinka said contempt. Thank you, sir. I mean, I told you the men are coming back in full force. My God. We call them Tyson Fury. They are back. The men are back. So he shared with us the fox of contempt. Antonia has come up with the fox of irresponsibility. Wow. Anita, well, the men seem to be on top today. Anita, you're coming up with the fox of contempt. Olayinka has already shared the force of contempt. My man, Olayinka, you're giving it red. Oh, kiddo. Olayinka has brought another one, the fox of ingratitude, ahead of Akinobare. Akinobare, ma'am, I'm so sorry. Olayinka, man, leading right now the chat. Oh, my goodness. Queen Amina has already broken again. She's come up with communication. Really? Okay. So let's see how it goes. Come on, guys. Eze, God bless you. The fox of irresponsibility. Guys, I'm waiting for you to come up. I'm stylishly jumping the names of the women. So looking for you guys, even when the women are presenting this subway. You are making it becoming obvious that I'm playing some games here. So, guys, Eze, do something, my brother. Fox of irresponsibility. Olayinka, you're coming on board. The fox of criticism. Where are the men? Lord have mercy on this guy. Okay, since the guys are not showing up, Belinda is coming up with the foxes of... Belinda, you decided to wipe out the guys, right? So you decided to come up with the fox of unfaithfulness, rigidity, contempt, ingratitude, wow, and irresponsibility. You just loaded it so the guys won't even have a chance. Amazing. PJ, I'm sorry for you, man of God. You're coming way behind schedule. PJ came up with the fox of criticism. after so many women have printed that out. PJ, the Lord be with you, man of God. I love you. Fortunately, at this point, there's nothing I can do to help you. Well, thank you all so very much. We've been able to talk so far about several foxes that affects marriages and relationship. And today, we're going to be taking this to a whole new level. And trust me, what I want to talk to you about today might be a little bit emotional for some of you, particularly if you are yet to be healed. Today might be a day to revisit the wounds. And you know, sometimes you can't get it healed if you don't open up the wounds again. The reason is because it wasn't properly healed. I remember some years ago, my father, I had an injury. I was playing with my friends, and so I sustained an injury. And like my children, I see my kids do the same today. Like my kids, I realized that my father will either give me injection or just, or apply iodine or iodine. It all depends on how you like to call it. My father will apply that, and that can be very hurtful, very painful. So when I get injured, I try to cover it up and pretend like nothing is wrong with me. On one of these occasions, I had this injury, and again, of course, you know what I had to do. I pretended like I was not injured, and so I tried to manage it myself. Here's the point. I'm going to make a statement now. As I tried to manage it, I never knew I was damaging it. So you want to quickly take note of this. Stop managing it so that you don't end up damaging it. Write that down as quick as you can. Stop managing the situation so you don't end up damaging the situation. All right? So I tried, hiding it from my father, manage it myself. Unfortunately, I didn't know that although it seems that the injury was healing, I never knew it was healing on the surface. It was infected on the inside. So after a while, I was becoming feverish, of course, because the injury was infected. I was thinking I had covered it up. But then here was I suffering pain because of what I covered. I'm going to say that again. Here was I becoming sick because of what I had covered. I'm going to say that again. I thought maybe you didn't hear me. Here was I becoming sick because of something that I was covering. I was becoming infected by virtue of the fact that I was managing something, I was covering something that I needed to expose. I'm going to say that again. I was managing and covering something that needed exposure. I didn't know that sometimes for healing to take place, exposure is needed. It's part of my training to learn to pause. It's called presidential pause. I didn't know that sometimes in order for you to actually get healed, what you're trying to cover needs to be exposed. See, I didn't want someone to know about my injury. I didn't want someone to know about my pain. Because I didn't want them to address it in such a way that it would cause me greater pain. I didn't know that when they address it, it causes me momentary pain, but over time, it brings me healing. So here is the case. I don't want momentary pain that comes through disclosure and exposure. I want to cover up and allow time. Hopefully, that's it. I thought allowing time will bring about healing over something that was not properly addressed. So I dragged into the future something that needed immediate exposure. Well, I told you from the beginning, I said, today's class is going to be very incisive. It's going to be very clinical. And I'm going to go behind the mask. I'm going to go behind the veil to deal with some of the things that religion does not deal with. I'm going to talk about things that looks too sacred to be addressed or too confusing to be dealt with in our churches. I'm going to deal with what is dealing with pastors, dealing with bishops. I'm going to deal with what is dealing with marriages of worship leaders. I'm going to deal with what is dealing with the marriages and relationships and the lifestyles of CEOs of multinationals and Fortune 500 companies. I'm going to deal with what is causing divorces, breakups, and separations among singles. So if you have a brother anywhere around the world, do them a favor, send them a text message and tell them, I'd like you to join me right now on YouTube. Something has been discussed that may help your marriage. You'd have an idea how many marriages I've been dealing with lately that God has been putting together. So here was I with an injury that required immediate disclosure. But then, because I didn't want immediate pain, I decided to opt for closure. I decided to opt for covering. I decided to opt for, masking up. Instead of unmasking, I covered it up. Instead of allowing someone to play a role in helping me through the process. No, I would rather manage it myself than have someone else play a role, because after all, you see, if they play a role, they're going to pull some things out. They're going to add some things there. They're going to do things that will hurt me in the immediate. And I don't want to be hurt. I don't want pain in the immediate. See, I just want to move on. So, and what actually happened was that the first few days, it seems like I was moving on. Until when my movement became sluggish and my health began to break down. And then what I was trying to cover became obvious to the man that I was trying to cover it from. By this time, the injury had become infected. And so my father said, well, my son, let's look at it. And I was like, okay, Dad, yeah, can you just put something on top? Alabendo sakati. I feel like praying in tongues. Don't mind me. We've been praying all day today, so I'm still in the atmosphere of prayer. So the Bible says pray without ceasing, So I was like, hey, Dad, you know what? Why don't you, I'm injured and I'm trying to advise what I couldn't deal with. I'm trying to advise someone who can fix it on how to fix it. And I want him to fix it for me in a way that I like. I want him to fix it for me in a way that is convenient for me. So my father said, son, listen, at this point in time, it has nothing to do with you. We're going to fix this. And the first thing was to look at the injury properly. And because my father was in the medicals, the first thing my father said is that it's bringing out pores. This injury is bringing out pores. It was already bringing out smelly liquids. And my father said, what looks like an injury that has healed on the surface is actually infected beneath. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Dad, can we do something again on the surface? My father said, no, son. And I said, what's it? Well, my father said, we're going to peel off the wound again. We're going to go back to where we started from. And I'm like, no. And he said, that's exactly where we need to start from. We need to go back in order to go forward. Well, we need to get back to where the injury took place. We need to get back to the history you don't want to recount. We need to get back to talking about what you like to repress. You like to repress it. I don't want to talk about it again. I've moved on. No, you've not moved on if you can talk about it. I'm going to say that again. You've never moved away from anything you can talk about. The proof of healing is the ability to touch what used to hurt and it hurts no more. Can I say that again? The proof of healing is to be able to touch, revisit what used to hurt and it hurts no more. When Jesus was being crucified on the cross, as they pierced the nail through his hands. He cried. At the point of injury, he cried. But 3 days after, he rose again, and some days later, he showed up before his disciples. And when he showed up before the disciples, something amazing happened. The Bible says he said to Thomas, he said, Thomas, put your finger inside it right where I was injured a few days ago. And listen to what Jesus said. It hurts no more. The proof that I'm healed is that you can touch what caused me to cry a few days ago. Touch it. Put your finger in it. Squeeze it deep into it. Ask me any question about that past event. I'll talk to you about it. Ask me about my past divorce. I will talk to you about it. Poke your finger into it. It hurts no more. Talk about the person that I lost. Yes, I love the person. I love the fact that I lost him. I lost her. I lost them. It hurt then. And it's not because I don't love them. No, but I've healed. And the proof of healing is that you can revisit the matter and it hurts no more. Now listen, I've not started yet. I'm just laying the premise for my conversation with you. There's so much to share. So I'm really hoping that you have capacity to handle the things that I want to share today. The only thing I'll ask you to do is get your friends on board. Do whatever you can to get as many as you can. Would you go ahead right now and share the video? Go ahead, please. Everyone watching right now, I will implore you, please, to consider sharing the video. It doesn't cost you anything. Just press the bottom on the left-hand side of your phone, down side of it. Jesus, listen to me carefully. When Jesus rose again, listen, when he was being crucified, at the time of pain, at the time of injury, it hurt. He cried. And that's the right thing to do. When the breakup happens, it's okay to cry. When you lose your loved one, it's okay to cry. When your partner did what he did, it was okay then to cry. But when Jesus rose again, oh, can I say something? Follow me carefully now. When Jesus rose again, there was something that I want to share with you, and I didn't want you to forget it. When he rose again, he was not found where the pain took place. The proof of healing is a departure, is normally noticed by your departure from the point of pain. What that means is that you can't find me where I was injured. I moved. You can't find me where I was injured. The proof of healing is in your departure from the place of pain. And I'm not talking about physical departure. I'm talking about the fact that emotionally, that place no longer has influence on you. So Jesus, when he rose again, the disciples, when they were with him, they were like, no, you are a ghost. Somebody who has gone through that kind of situation can't rise up again. You see, that's what a lot of people are saying about you. They don't believe you can come back from that divorce. They don't believe that you can come back after losing your wife or losing your husband or losing some of your children. They don't believe you can come back. So when they see you, and they see you smiling, they say, no, you are a ghost. Or sometimes they think you're pretending to be healed when you are not. No, the reality is I'm healed. In fact, it took some angels to let even the disciples know that he was no longer where he was wounded or buried. They said, listen, he has moved. Can you meet your former boyfriend? Can you meet your former lover? Can you meet him at the junction of somewhere and shake hands with the person because you've moved from where he dumped you? Can you meet your former girlfriend, your former wife, your former husband? Can you meet the person at the junction or juncture or somewhere? Can you meet the person and say, how are you doing? And smile with the person. And if possible, pay for their gas money. Can you do that? Your ability to do that without having pain, resentment, and bitterness on the inside of you is the proof of your healing. It's a proof that you made a marginal departure from your previous point of pain. Well, I'm taking you into what we call emotional healing today. So for all of you who are mental health practitioners, before we started mental health, there was something called emotional healing. So Jesus said to the disciple, put your finger right here. And they poked their finger right into the place. And you know what Jesus said? It hurts no more. Talking about what happened 10 years ago, it doesn't hurt me anymore. And I didn't repress it. I'm not glossing over it. I'm not pretending. I confronted it. Because you never conquer what you don't confront. I conquered it. I faced it. I faced the pain like my father did to me. He said, hey, son, watch. We're not going to treat the wound on the surface. You're going to get infected again. So I want you to see what we're about to do. That's something you don't want to see. And my father used something like a scissors, but has a bent, tip and picked up the skin. Now, listen, I know that can be gory. Now, picked up the skin on my knee, then pulled that stuff out. The outer skin that looks like it was healing. Little did I know that it was not really healing. My father pulled it out. Of course, the surrounding part of the skin surrounding part of my body from where the skin was pulled out was bleeding. And now we had this conglomerate of pores indicating the presence of infection. So the pores had to be drained and the wound has to be treated. My God, when they applied what they had to apply, I felt pain. I felt pain. So I know what pain is. I don't know if you understand what it means to have pain. You're having pain on your knees, but it's making registrations on your head, Those were the kind of pain that I had. And my father said, just allow it. Let it stay exposed. Now, this is the problem. I didn't want it exposed. But my father said exposure is what's going to bring about healing. Oh, someone did hear what I just said right now. Exposure is what's going to bring about healing. They treated the surface, they applied some stuff so that there will be no more infection. It has to dry up. What you are unwilling to expose, you'll be unwilling to heal. Whatever you're unwilling to expose usually doesn't get healed. So today, we want to look at some issues, some of the things, some of the foxes that are affecting our marriages and relationships. I have to be using an a laptop today because my iPad fell. The screen got broken, and during the broadcast about 2-3 days ago, thereabout, was this Sunday or so? I was in the heat of rounding up, and my iPad fell, and so I have to use something bigger today. How much I love the freedom I get from using that smooth, simple, sleeky iPad than using this whole big Rama, you know. Okay, but let's go. Let's go on. Songs of Solomon chapter 2 in verse 15. Songs of Solomon chapter 2 in verse 15. And I'm going to be using the New Living Translation. Catch all the foxes, all of them. Catch all the foxes. Those little foxes. This is very specific. Catch all the foxes with specific emphasis on those little foxes before they ruin the vineyards. Catch those little foxes before they ruin the vineyard of love. So marriage relationship can be typified as the vineyard of love. And the Bible recognizes foxes as animals that are metaphorical, symbolic of, attitudes, behaviors, memories, past events that can influence the degeneration or disintegration of your relationship. The Bible says, catch those foxes. Hello, single sister, single brother, whosoever you are, married man, woman, identify the foxes in you that can be released into the vineyard of your relationship or love that has the potential to destroy your marriage, your relationship, your interaction with fellow human beings. Every one of us, including my humble self, we all have or had at some point in our lives foxes that had the potential to ruin relationships. Some of us have done a good job in being able to catch some of those foxes, and we've been able to quarantine them, cage them up. And so from time to time, they rear up their ugly heads. Some of us have been able to kill those foxes. Samson was able to gather some foxes, put fire on them, and those foxes went out and caused damage, colossal, collateral damage in the vineyards of the Philistines. Here's a point I want to make. Every time you let foxes loose, they cause damage. Every time you let a wrong attitude out, it causes damage. Every time you allow a wrong negative behavior to find expression within a space where interaction takes place, such a negative behavior has the potential to damage the relationships in that particular area. Catch the foxes, and you can never catch a fox you are willing to identify. You can never deal with a behavior you still keep masking up and protecting and excusing. Always saying it's your partner that is at fault. Never turning the mirror to look at the man or the woman that is in the mirror. The easiest thing to do is to blame somebody else. The most difficult thing is to swallow the same pill. The time has come for you and I to look in the mirror and see who is the man, who is the woman in the mirror. What attitude, what negative attitude, behavior, what memory still runs loose in my life such that it is interfering with my relationship, my marriage. Catch the foxes. You can't catch them if you don't identify them. And watch out. You see, the word catch is a hunting word. And what that teaches you is that like you're going to behave like a hunter. Watching out for when that behavior leaks out through you. You're like, oh my God, there am I again. Now I see me. Now I see what I do that causes destabilization in the equation of my relationships. The fox you excuse, you never catch. And the fox you never catch will rock your marriage, destroy your marriage and relationships. Foxes are omnivorous animals. There are herbivores, there are carnivores. Herbivores are animals that eat only meat. Plants. Herbivores, they only eat herbs, plants. Then we have carnivores and cannibals. Animals that only feed on flesh. The issue with foxes is that they feed on anything they see, living or dead. So when the Bible says, watch out for the foxes, the reason is because your behavior, your negative behavior like a fox, your negative attitude like a fox, the memory of past events like a fox, unresolved memories of the past, emotional wounds of yesterday, what that has a potential to do is to destroy everything good in your relationship. It has the potential to destroy everything good in your relationship. So foxes, take note of this. Let's define foxes. Again, foxes are attitudes, actions, behaviors. Take note of them one after the other. Foxes are attitudes, actions, they are behaviors, emotional wounds, and unresolved memories with their influences on your marriage, relationship, and interpersonal relationship. Foxes, they are attitudes, they are actions, they are behaviors, emotional wounds. They are actually unresolved memories from the past with their influences, their destructive influence on your marriage, relationship, and interpersonal relationship. When I use the word relationship, I'm talking about singles. So take note of that. And we've been able to list out some of the foxes last week. For those of you who are just joining us, you may need to go back to the previous videos because I will not be able to go back and summarize them again. And by the way, if you need all of my messages on marriage, relationship, and other series, an address is going to be shown on the screen, a website link. You can get on my website and download as many of my messages as you want. Trust me, they will change your life. So let's get down to some of the foxes that we've already identified before. Number one, we said there's a fox of irresponsibility. The fox of irresponsible behaviors. The unwillingness to take responsibility. Number two is the fox of unfaithfulness. The fox of unfaithfulness. The fox of unfaithfulness causes you to violate the trust and the vows of your relationship. The fox of unfaithfulness. It makes you do it over and over again. I won't do it today. I'm sorry what I did. And then tomorrow you're back into it. There's a fox of unfaithfulness. There's what we call the fox of rigidity. The fox of inflexibility. You only see black and white. You don't see gray. You only see one way. Very rigid, inflexible. So nobody can make a contribution to your assertions. Your assumptions, your assertions, your inferences, your deductions, your observations, they are law. As limited as they may be, they stand as law. You are rigid, and it has a way of destroying relationship. And let me say something. Rigidity is normally a revelation of the operation of the controlling spirit in an individual. And you cannot have a solid relationship if you don't give up control. Did you hear what I just said now? You can't have a healthy relationship if you don't give up control. I know that's so big for you. How about relaxing control? How about becoming flexible? Number 4 is what we call criticism, the fox of criticism. Go and listen to the video. Watch it again. Then we have the fox of ingratitude. And then last week, Friday, we dealt with the fox of contempt. That's where we ended last week. Today, I want to take you to what I call the fox of influence, negative influence. The fox of negative influence. Now you have to follow me carefully today. When we talk about the fox of influence or negative influence, we're saying that one partner in the relationship is still under the influence of past memories, past pains, and, watch this carefully, past impacts from dysfunctional relationships. When we're talking about the fox of negative influence, we're saying one partner in the relationship or both are still under the influence of past memories, pains, and the impact of the emotional or legal divorces that their parents went through. This is where I'm getting to now. Follow me carefully now. We're saying that somebody in the relationship is exhibiting behaviors that are untoward in the relationship. The person finds it difficult to trust. I'm going to say that again. The person finds it difficult to totally trust and deeply love because the person is still under the influence of previous pain, past memories, and the impact of the person's parents' emotional or physical or what you call legal divorce. So I'm going to be talking today about the impact of emotional divorce and legal divorce, how it influences behaviors in relationships and in marriages. Emotional divorce is what is prevalent in society today. Emotional divorce, particularly in religious communities. What is emotional divorce? Emotional divorce is the separation or the disconnection of emotions between two parties who are in relationship together. I'm going to say that again. Emotional divorce is the separation or the disconnection of emotions between two parties who are in relationship together. In this case, a husband and a wife, a fiancé or a fiancée. It can also happen in a family. We are emotionally divorced. Now, the brutal part of emotional divorce is that you can be emotionally divorced and still be living in the same house, lying in the same bed, and still be sharing your bodies together, bodies, but not emotions. You are disconnected emotionally. You actually carry out duties. The husband performs his duty. His wife performs her duty. But emotionally, you are disconnected. And each of you is either waiting for the day because you are religious, so you don't want to do divorce, so that the world doesn't laugh at you, the church. So you stay trapped in the marriage because you are afraid of public opinion or views. So you're waiting for the day that one of you will lead the divorce proceeding, or when God will call one of you home. Here's the problem with emotional divorce. Somebody is secretly wishing without praying that God will kill the other. It's the saddest part about emotional divorce, because the person feels trapped and the person can't do anything legal to get out of it because of public reprisals. So there's a secret wish that God will take this person out of my life so that I can be free. This is how bad emotional divorce can be. That is why those who are in the world of marriage and relationship will tell you that physical divorce is better than emotional divorce. In emotional divorce, we've had cases whereby one of the parties in the relationship, looking for a way out, has actually gone to set up the other party by actually working somebody. Let me give a practical example. I handled a situation where they had an emotional divorce right here in my city. And the man was in government. The man was in the House of Rep. He was married to this pretty woman. And unfortunately, they were emotionally divorced. They drifted apart in the same house. They became emotionally disconnected for a while. The man didn't know how to get out of it because of his public image. The woman didn't know how to get out of it because also of the church that she worships in. So guess what the man did? The man went to arrange with somebody else who is a friend to this lady to arrange another man to pretend he wants to buy what his wife, that man wants to buy some of the products that his wife brings from Dubai. And her friend arranged with this man. And she told her friend, she told his wife, the friend to this man's wife, told the man's wife that somebody wants to buy her product and that the person is at Protea Hotel. Then we used our Protea Hotel in my city before it became Bond Hotel. And so she, because of her friend, actually went to meet this man in the hotel. And while she was in the hotel with the man and she was introducing her product, little did she know that there was a camera in the room and the man had been paid. So the man stripped himself naked and the man reached out to her. Long and short of it, a sexual situation was created even though an intercourse didn't take place. I'm telling you how far people can go. And the video picked a short part of it where it actually looked like she was having a consensual sexual relationship with this man that was set up, that was put in the hotel. And her friend walked in at that time. And she was like, "What are you doing?" Not knowing it was a setup. And there was no way she could let her friend know that this man did this to me. I didn't consent. Long and short of it, the video was gotten. And the husband, up till the last time I remember the situation, the husband went public. Actually put the video of his wife out in the public. That scene. He also got pictures of her walking into the hotel. Apparently, she didn't know that there was a photographer that was also positioned. All kinds of stuff were taken. And everything was sent to the public. And he used that as a basis for divorcing the woman and having custody of the child, which was his goal. When emotional divorce takes place, couples, parties in a relationship can do the unthinkable to each other, including poisoning each other, including arranging assassinators to kill each other, so that it will not be traceable to them. Emotional divorce is more destructive than physical divorce. Now, when a child grows up in an environment where there's emotional divorce, that child cannot become a normal adult except by the grace of God, the Word of God, and the Spirit of God. So we're not saying it's impossible, we're saying it's difficult. Because the impact of emotional divorce on the psyche of a child lives longer than the impact of physical divorce. So if you are watching me and you know you are emotionally divorced, you understand what I'm saying. You have splitted the children in the house. Your children have developed what you call split personalities. Because in order for the boy to get something from dad, he has to pretend like he likes dad. And in order for him to get something from mom, he pretends like his mom is ally. So the kids have developed what we call split personality, and that will follow them into marriage, except they give their lives to Christ. The Spirit of God comes on their lives. The Word of God takes root in their lives. They are good mentors, good counselors. If not, legal divorce also has impact on children. Legal divorce is a physical termination of an existing marriage. Emotional divorce is the emotional disconnection between two parties who come to church dressed like they are one, who appear in church just like they are role models. The only difference is that at home, they are miles apart, like the North Pole is from the South Pole. Wow, 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 wow. There was a research that was carried out by a man called Jim Conway, a man that I respect his writings a lot. Jim Conway made a research about the impact of emotional and legal divorce on people who were children when that was going on, years after, when they had become adults and are parents by themselves. Jim Conway did a research and had to study a great number of them. These are now adults, but they are adult children from emotionally and legally divorced background. Did you get that? I'm going to say that again. They are adult children from emotional and legally divorced background. Jim Conway wanted to check and see how that background has affected their lives, their marriages, and their relationship, including their parenting style. The first thing Jim Conway noticed was that even though they are still adults, they were still feeling the impact of their parents' divorce. Here's what he noted. 72% of them still felt unhappy that their parents divorced. 72% of them. 65% of them still felt powerless, that they had no power to have stopped it from happening. In fact, some of them still blame themselves as the possible reason why their parents had a divorce, because they felt they should have done something about it. Unfortunately, some of them had their parents tell them that I'm leaving your mother because of you. I'm leaving your father because of you. Number 3, some of them still feel lonely. They still felt lonely even after the divorce had taken place years ago, and they are now adults. They still feel or felt lonely. 52% of them still felt afraid, were still feeling afraid that they may also end up having a divorce. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is because somebody is watching me and you've been planning. Nobody knows. Hello, sir. Yeah, I'm talking with you, sir. Madam, yes, let me get your attention. I know it's a secret plan. As soon as COVID-19 leaves the way, I'm heading to court. I will divorce this guy and I will move on with my life. Now here's the point. You can move on. Your kids will have to pay the price. These kids that became adults over years still felt angry at their parents. Years after, they were still angry at their parents. They felt that their parents were self-centered, their parents were selfish. Whatever the reason is between the parents, the kids don't care. Now they are adults, they still feel angry. They still felt angry. 48% of them, even though they are married adults, still felt abandoned. And here's the twist. They also feel that anybody they're in relationship with will one day leave them. So they are not fully invested in any relationship. You just got something now. So if you're married to such a husband, that is why he is not fully emotionally, materially, financially invested in your relationship. Something is still telling him. Something way back in his memory is still telling him, your wife too will still leave you one day. He is carrying in him the poison of abandonment. And there's a secret fear that you will also abandon him as a wife. Same thing with you women watching me. You were abandoned. You felt abandoned when your parents had their emotional or physical divorce, their separation. Now here you are. You are in relationship with a man that loves you. But something inside you is telling you, the small girl that witnessed the divorce is telling the woman you have become that this man, all this one is buying you rose flower. All this one that is showering love on you. All this one that is doing all this and doing all that, kissing you, romancing you, sending you text message. Watch it, watch it. It's going to just skid away from you. You better start planning your life secretly. And that's why some of you women have secret accounts. That's why you have secret plans in case a marriage that has great future, in case it fails. Your husband has no thought of divorcing you, but you are making arrangement in case a divorce takes place. Oh, my. Okido. Wow. Okay. Can we take it a little bit deeper? Let's take it a little bit deeper. That 30% of these adults who came from emotionally divorced home, 30% of them still carry within them the feeling of rejection. And so any behavior by their spouse, their husband, their lover, even in an interpersonal relationship, wherever somebody does something that looks like you are going to reject them, they quickly react. They fear rejection. Take note, they anticipate rejection. And ahead of time, they are always watching out for attitudes that connote rejection. A great percentage of them, over 30%, still felt worthless by defining their lives based on what their parents did. If I was somebody, my parents should have stayed together. So they still feel worthless and nobody. I'm nothing. After all, if those who love me can leave me, anybody can leave me. So there's a sense of worthlessness. What was the effect of this feeling on these feelings? What was the effect on their relationships? Watch this carefully. It was later discovered that 58% of these people that I talked about, whose parents had emotional or physical divorce, 58% of them became approval seekers. Whatever they are doing, they are looking for somebody's validation because they were not validated at all. So because they are validation seekers, approval seekers, they will do anything to impress you. So if you're a single lady who comes from that kind of background, and a guy is trying to propose marriage to you, watch this. You will become more of a human doing in the relationship than a human being. Because you don't want him to walk away, because you watch your father walk away, you will want to keep him. And in a bid to keep him, in a bid to get his approval, you will do anything, including buy a house for him if you can afford it, including buy a wedding ring for him, including giving him money to marry you. Approval seekers. If you are the kind of person who needs the validation of people, it might be a reflection of the fact that something went wrong in your background. If you cannot just validate yourself, you're always looking for people's approval, you are easily manipulated. Anyone that shows you love and affection can begin to control you against your partner. Number two, many of them became highly self-judgmental. 53% of them became judgmental, and mostly they were judgmental on themselves. Whatever they do is never good enough. They are not also good enough. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too slim. I'm too slow. I'm too fast. Nothing is ever appreciated. Highly critical of themselves. They have what you call imposter syndrome. When they achieve any significant thing, they will think that the reason they achieve it is because other people didn't try. Very critical of themselves. 50% of them became stunted in their growths. Stunted growth. They are not growing mentally. They are not growing psychologically. They are not growing academically. There's no drive for personal growth. Check people like that. There's no drive for personal growth. The world is evolving. They are just watching. People are secretly right now. People are doing certification programs. They are just watching. Waiting for lockdown to be over so that they can go back to the world that has already moved. 47% of them are too serious with themselves. Too serious. Perfectionist tendency. Too serious with themselves. No time for relaxation. In actual fact, 35% of them became workaholics who don't have time for relaxation. For them to play is a sin. If they are playing, something will tell them souls are perishing. Like if they stop playing, souls will stop perishing. I mean, I don't know how I felt On Saturday, my son and I were playing basketball in the house. And, the glow of my son, that were dribbling each other. And then we started throwing baskets. And I had to let him know that I'm still his father. So I threw from distances that I was trying to establish my supremacy. And I was able to establish myself 4 times with him having only 1 score. But the boy was too determined. And so when I noticed that the guy came close to me by throwing 3 shots closer to mine, I told him, I said, this is a good time for us to call today off, because you see, the danger was for the boy to catch me. So we rounded up that day with me throwing the longest distance. So I'm looking forward to another revenge match with him, but I want to rehearse before I engage him again so that I can perfect throwing from longer distances so that I can score multiple shots. And by the time he's trying to struggle his way there, again, I will establish myself as a father. You know, God is our father. And the only reason why he's our father is that he knows what we don't know. And he can do what we can't do. So it makes him a father. Anyway, my prayers that my son will outdo me. Is that okay? That's good fatherhood. The point I'm making is, there are some of you that, you see now you're laughing. There are some of you, to even laugh is a sin. When was the last time you laughed? No, this world is a serious world. It's like laughter, we withdraw investment. It's like if you laugh, no. So something like comedy, you've never been caught watching comedy. If you see people making comedy, you're like, they are not serious. You see what I'm saying? When was the last time you just sat down, watch something that makes you laugh? When did you ever take yourself out to just go have fun, play somewhere, be a child? As you are watching me now, do you know something called ice cream? Have you taken ice cream before? No, you are too serious for ice cream. When was the last time you held an ice cream? And by the way, you didn't have it when you were growing up. So why don't you have it now that you are grown? I'm recovering every wasted years of my life. Listen, everything the devil has stolen from me in childhood, I'm recovering them in adulthood. Including going to Disneyland. I went to Disneyland with my son. And we did car racing together. My son thought he could. The boy is always competing with me. So my son said, hey, Daddy, I want to compete with you. Let's get into this roller coaster car stuff. And we sat side by side. And when the roller coaster began, at some of the most risky moments, my son lost his shoes. They fell off his feet. Mine were still there, as I'm his father. And then I was maintaining. My son began to scream, oh my God. So when we landed safely, my son was like, hey, Daddy, why is it that you didn't even shake at all? I said, well, it's called the wisdom of the elders. You know what I did to him? He had his eyes open. When the roller coaster was working, I closed my eyes. It's wisdom. So I didn't even understand what was going on. I just knew we rounded up. So he had his own eyes, so he was feeling dizzy. So when we came down, he was almost falling down. I told him, I said, what makes elders to be senior to you is not strength, it's wisdom. Hey, listen, what I'm saying is that I took myself out to go and play. Yes, listen, I went as Reverend Sam. It was Reverend Sam that was inside that stuff. I thought that angels will leave me when I did that. I noticed that the angels were excited. They've been waiting to see me play. Angels have been looking forward to see me laugh. Because it's amazing them who I resemble. Because they are used to God. And the Bible says, he that sits in the heaven shall laugh. They are used to God laughing in heaven. They are wondering why his children are so serious on earth. Hello, listen. It's one of the signs that somebody comes from a background. So your marriage, your house, everything is tight. It's like a graveyard. It's like all the spaces in your house have been allocated. And movements are regulated. There seem to be a quarantine approach in the house. There's a time for everybody to wake up. And there's a time when everyone must go to sleep. There's a time when everyone must be silent. And you play martial music. Like there's a coup in the country. I see some of you laughing. Why are you laughing? Auntie Pat, you are laughing. Woman of God, you're supposed to be a woman of God. Why are you laughing? Oh my God. Somebody said I will laugh more. Go ahead and laugh. It's your father's world. Laugh. The past is over. Let it go. Enjoy yourself. Disconnect from the past. Don't let the present pay for the errors of the past. I will continue tomorrow. Our time is fast spent. So I'll be dealing more. Now listen, don't miss tomorrow morning. Don't miss tomorrow morning. We're having Apostle and Prophet Brian Meadows all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, in our 5 a.m. prayer. If you did not join us at the 5 a.m. prayer today, please, before you sleep, watch the 5 a.m. prayer on this platform, on this channel. Watch it. It's there online. Watch it and sleep tonight. And join us for the prayer with Apostle Brian Meadows, 5 a.m. Nigerian time. Then Great Britain, same thing, United Kingdom, 5 a.m. United States, that's going to be 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you join us. Somebody saying, Papa, please continue. Yes, I would love to continue, but your time has expired. I know you want me to continue. But listen, we will continue tomorrow. Don't worry, I'm here. We'll continue tomorrow. Somebody said it was scary and powerful. And said it ended with a laugh. That's exactly what we're trained to do. Carissa now says she wants to go to Disneyland. Carissa, go to Disneyland and go and play. Stop allowing your parents' emotional and physical divorce to have impact on your life. I want you to take a time today. Watch this video again and again. And all those points that I mentioned, anyone you find in your life, say to yourself, I'm letting that go. And if you can't do it by yourself, and I know most times you can't do it by yourself, just go to God and say, God, I need your help. That's what we're going to be praying tomorrow morning. Say, God, I need your help. Stop blaming your partner for what you have to deal with. Your partner didn't come from your family. You came from that family. You have to deal with it. The conflict in your marriage is because of the carryover from your family. Your marriage is paying dearly for the errors that your parents committed. Your marriage has become a playing ground, a wrestling ring, where the conflict of your past is having expression in your present. Oh my God, Meg. God bless you, Meg. Meg said, I want to take ice cream now. Meg, quickly. Listen, Meg, if I'm you, listen, Meg, go and buy, listen, put all the flavor together. Like, listen, for the first time in your life, just be a child. Is that okay? Put strawberry, let everybody be looking at you. Put strawberry, put chocolate, put vanilla. I did that. I combined all of them. It's called combined ministry. Be a child again. Take so much of the ice cream that you're able to take a picture and send to me with ice cream all over your face. Be a child. Buy popcorn. You heard me. There are some of you watching me right now, senior adult. You've been an adult since you were a child. You became an instant adult since you were a child. So you never even had access to popcorn. You're only watching people eat popcorn. And for you, they are not serious because life is too serious than for somebody to be eating popcorn. You need popcorn as I speak. Some of you are watching me. You need to go for what they call Wet and Wild in Orlando. Go there. Go and wear swimming, jump inside water. Do something crazy. You are just 45 and you are looking like 62. Get your youth back. Don't let marriage sap your life. You're watching me. You've never done something called massage. My wife, something funny happened. You know, we're in London for relationship masterclass. And my wife said to me, let's go inside sauna. I said, for what? I said, for what? She said, let's just go into the sauna. It's here. And actually, we were staying in the Intercontinental Hotel, which is one of the finest hotels by O2 Arena in London. Fine hotel. God bless our London